Hello, this is Mike, NoStressMike.com. It's funny, I'm going to be, later on here, I'm going to be in a place, and the reason the guy got a hold of me is because he's a gray kind of guy, gray area. And so he's all the time asking me questions, and I put it into a black and white thing, and he's having a hard time with that. And then I had someone else mention about all the gray that's going on in the United States. And it's funny because I don't think I've made a video talking about the gray area. And what it is, I'm a black and white kind of guy. And I've mentioned I've been self-employed. So I can't make decisions on gray area. You can't. You just can't do it. And if you are working for me and I've got work for you and I give you gray area in the way of responsibility, you're not going to get anything done. To set goals and to reach your goals, you don't make gray goals. You make black and white goals. You either get to it or you don't. And if you don't, why didn't you? And this will help you on the next goal setting that you do. And the reason it is so important, and I know there's a lot of people that just love to be in the gray area because that gives them an excuse. That gives them an excuse to, oh, I screwed up, but the way I looked at it, it was, in other words, they didn't have it fully thought out. That's why people don't reach goals. It wasn't fully thought out. You started heading to whatever it is that your goals, you set a goal and you started heading for it without fully thinking it out. Like, I want to go over there and there's a river between me and there, You get to the river and you think, well, now I got to cross the river. No, wait a minute. When you were way back there and you looked at where you were going, you saw there was a river. So it's no surprise. And if you didn't see the river, it wasn't fully thought out deal. You should have looked both sides and say, hey, there's a bridge over there. Now, why is there a bridge over there and I want to go over there? Well, probably you need to go towards that bridge first and then cut back. That's a fully thought out plan. So, in other words, you set your goal, but you set it by using gray. And like I say, when you're in business, you can't do gray. Things don't get done with gray. Okay, so, and in self-defense, you surely better be black and white. When you start doing things in the way of self-defense, now I'm talking either, walking down the street and two guys walk up to you and you start whipping up on them, or you pull your gun out and shoot them and stuff like that, and then you find out they were beggars. You shot them when it was gray. You didn't find out the full intent of the encounter. It's the same thing if you're defending your home. It doesn't make any difference what it is. You can't make a proper decision if it's gray. If it's not fully thought out, it's gray. If it's fully thought out, it's black and white. It's either yes or no. And that's what I talk about in preparing. When I come up against my threats, it's all the time when there's a group of guys, and either I'm driving up to them and they're there, or if I'm walking and they're there, it's always gray. And I don't even care if they're police, military, bandits. It doesn't make any difference. It's gray when I come up to them. And the reason it is, I don't know what they want. I have no idea what the situation is. I have to figure out the situation, and until I get that situation figured out, it is gray. So I can't give it a proper reaction, my reaction to this encounter, until I figure out the black and white of the situation. And you use that same thought in all of your decision making, and you will find out things get a whole lot easier. Now, I will admit, now I'm older and wiser, and so I can see the black and white much more clear, and it doesn't blend together to make gray. And even now, as I am older and wiser, I make the situation, if it is gray, I know how to make it clear itself to be black and white. I know what questions to ask. I know what kind of body language to look for. I know what kind of body language I need to project, and all this kind of stuff. And that will clear everything to make it a black and white instead of a gray. And that's really what wisdom is all about, is knowing the black and white. And yes, there's exceptions, but once it's a black and white, there's no exception to it. It's either black or white. And so it might take a little longer, it'll stay gray a little longer for the exception. In other words, I'm walking up, and two guys are walking up, and they have a handgun in their hands. Well, no, not a handgun. Let's say rifles. AK-47, and AR. Two of them, one of each. Okay, and when I first see them, it's a gray area. Are they locos? They're crazy and they're going to do bad things? Or are they just walking down the street with a couple of rifles? So it's gray. We don't know. And then you can see them as they get closer. If there's any kind of reaction, you can see their body language. You can see lots of stuff, and then you can pretty much start making up your mind. And then all you gotta do is say, "Good afternoon." And then when you see them, their eyes get all buggy and they go crazy and start shooting. They're locos. But more than likely, they're going to say good afternoon, and then that's going to be the end of it. It's a black and white situation. Okay, so you just have to ask the right questions, and like I say, you watch the body language, and that'll tell you a whole lot. But gray is for thinking. Once it's black and white, it's all thought out, and you can move on to the next thing. Black and white, this is the situation. We've got the situation. It's a black and white situation. How am I going to react to it? It's gray right now. And now I look at the situation and I see what options I have, and now we've made it a black and white, the way I'm going to react to the situation. Try to make your world a black and white world, and you'll find it'll be a whole lot easier. This is Mike, NoStressMike.com.